and did another. And he pronounces several woes upon them. In fact, 7 woes are pronounced upon the Pharisees in Matthew 23 alone. Now, this word woe comes from a word awai, which means wrath or sorrow. Jesus is saying the Pharisees will have wrath or sorrow because of these things. Let's listen to the 7 things quickly. First of all, he said, you keep people out of the kingdom of God and you don't let them in. They were a negative culture, a no people. They always wanted to criticize and say no to people. The second thing, Jesus said these woes are on you because you're aggressive to get others on your side, but then you make them children of hell like you are. In other words, you corrupt people with your impurity. The third thing Jesus says is you're blind guides. You have selective obedience and you're masters of evasion and excuses. You're always making up excuses for why you don't obey God. The fourth woe Jesus pronounces is because they emphasize minors over majors. Jesus said that you strain at a gnat and you swallow a camel. Now, both of these animals were unclean to the Jewish people. But what he was saying is that the Pharisees emphasized little detail things and they didn't emphasize the big, most important things in life. Jesus continues with his woes, and he said, you have a woe because you clean the outside of the cup, but you leave the inside full of garbage. Matthew 15, verse 17 through 20 says it this way. Don't you see that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out of the body? But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, slander. These are what defile a person, but eating with unwashed hands does not defile them. The Pharisees were interested in the outward conformity, but inside they were unclean. Jesus continues with his woes in verse 27 of Matthew 23. He says, you're like people that whitewash tombs. You paint the outside of the tomb, you make it look beautiful, but inside it's full of dead men's bones. And then he says in his final woe, the 7th woe in Matthew 23, there's woe upon you, he says, because you have selective amnesia. You fake it. You're deceiving yourselves. You say that you have built and decorated the tombs of the prophets, like right here in the Kidron Valley. Perhaps Jesus was overlooking this valley at some point as he was teaching. He was saying that you decorate these tombs, you make them elaborate, you make them amazing, and you say we would never kill the prophets. But he said the truth is you did kill the prophets, and you will kill this prophet, Jesus was saying of himself, because I come as a prophet like unto Moses. And he was saying to them, you will kill me. You are hypocritical. You say one thing and do another. Now, as we look at the Pharisees, it is the way that we should not live in trying to pursue purity. Hypocrisy takes us away from authenticity. They are contradictory to one another. And as I read these passages and as I read about the Pharisees, I think the big question for me I always ask is, am I a hypocrite? Am I saying something that I'm not doing? Am I more worried about the outside of the platter, outside of the cup that people see than I am about the inside and what really is going on in my heart? If so, that can change. You can change your heart before God and be pure from the inside out.